I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and it's time to get wealthy. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know and do to finally achieve the level of success you desire and you deserve. You checked all the boxes, college degrees, career, and you even stepped your foot in the door of some major corporations. But now you find yourself floundering instead of flourishing. What do you need to do now to be able to navigate these corporate hallways? My guest today had that same experience, and that's why she started an organization to help women like you navigate their way towards success. Here are the 3 things they don't want you to know about what it takes for career success. The first thing is, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Next, your value is determined by the value you create. And finally, you have to demonstrate how you add value. And joining us today to shed some light on what you need to do is Sherry Sims. She has a combined industry experience in the HR of over 2 decades. She is a workplace professional who, when she found herself in a similar situation, decided to launch the Black Career Women's Network so that she can help other women navigate their way to corporate success. And I'm excited to have her on Get Wealthy with me today. Sherry Sims, welcome to Get Wealthy.
Deborah, thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, what I love about your story is you really turned your own personal problem into an opportunity. So that's where I want to start. What was the situation you found yourself in that had you decide to start an organization to help women flourish in corporate America?
Really, I had an opportunity for a promotion and was overlooked. And that's really what started it all for me. At the time that I was overlooked for the promotion, the person that was leaving the role that they were looking for replacement was very honest with me and said, you checked off all the boxes for everything, but your manager simply just doesn't want you to leave. They want to keep you where you are. And that was a trigger for me because I feel like every person has an opportunity, and specifically Black women who desire to go to the next level. You have every right to want to level up in your career aspirations. And I think we should have people who want to support us in that career journey. And that's what really started it for me. At that point, I said, I want to make sure this never happens to me again. And I need to learn things that I need to learn in terms of skill sets or expanding on my network in order for me to elevate to that next level. And I felt like I needed to bring others along with me and create education and awareness around just how to do that. So that was important for me.
That's great. And as I think about why you started this organization, the Black Career Women's Network, I think about my own early career moves and certainly finding myself in situations where I didn't have the rule book.
Yeah.
I certainly had accomplished some things, yet the things that I really needed to know in order to play the game and win, I didn't learn in my formal education. In our Wealthy You, we have a framework of success that is mindset, strategy, and execution. And I want to begin there with you on this topic around mindset, because I think that it's so important that women understand, well, not just women, but you understand what is the internal psychological shifts that you need to make in order to be successful. So I want to start with, what mindset do Black women specifically need to adopt in order to excel in their career?
I think the first mindset, the first thing you need to consider when you're changing your mindset is you're thinking about where you are now. What level are you at? When you are an individual contributor, you have a specific mindset where you're more focused on the performance and how you're creating an impact at that level. When you desire to become a leader, there is a mindset shift that needs to take place when you go from individual contributor to become a leader. Now, there are different levels to leadership, so there comes different mindsets at those levels. But when you're desiring to become a leader, because I know that's one of the stats from a most recent report from McKinsey and Lean In, is 59% of Black women want to become a top level executive. And in order for you to do that, you must change your mindset. And it starts first with your three things: being able to read your room, know the audience in your room, the relationships, and your role. So I call them the three R's: role, relationship, and room. And those three are important to understand. And your communication level, your presence, your how you resolve conflict, how you are able to influence people, all of those things. There's a mindset shift that happens at all of these different levels. So again, starting with an individual contributor, think about your communication style, your emotional intelligence, how you're able to resolve conflict and build relationships. You need to take all of these things into consideration, but start with the three R's, which is, again, role, relationship, in the room.
That's good. That's excellent. And I love the fact that you started with the mindset shift of an individual contributor to leadership. And I think that so many people find themselves being promoted as a result of their performance as an individual contributor. Specifically, if you're in sales, if you're on the side of the P&L that really can make an impact numerically. I know that was my situation early on. I was a top investment seller and did very well. And as a result of that, was promoted into management, but I literally didn't have management experience. And so as a result, I led based on what I did, as opposed to understanding that it's situational leadership. You've got to look at your team, got to look at your strengths and your weaknesses. So to that end, if you're someone who is an individual contributor, or maybe you have just recently been promoted and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I know it, I see myself in that. You put the three R's: role, relationship, and what was the third R?
In the room. Like, what room you're in, right? And the room is who's in the room. Right? Who are the people that are in the room that have the influence that you can influence or develop relationships that can help you get to that next level? So what room are you in? Are you in a room with individual contributors who probably are not able to make an impact at that next level? Or are you in the room with a combination of both? Here's the thing. Here's a tip as well. If you are an individual contributor and you desire to be a leader, do the work where you are now. Because if you do the work where you are now, when you do reach the level, you'll be prepared to stay there. Because sometimes we were promoted into these next level roles and we haven't done the work that can prepare us to be successful. So we may have the talent and the skills to perform, to our capacity within the role. But when it comes to those leadership abilities and some of the soft skills we need to maintain and being able to be the leaders we need to become, we may not have done the work prior to getting into the role. And then that's where we start to see some of the challenges and experiences that we had. But
or we hit a wall, right? Or we don't know the people of influence who can really impact it. And this is a great way for our next segue into strategy, because now I want to talk specifically. Next, I want to talk about, okay, what are the strategies that I need to use in order to get in those rooms? So folks, when we come back, first it was mindset. Now it's strategy. What do you need to do so that you're not floundering and you can go to the next level? We'll be right back.
Let's be honest, as successful women, we're crushing it. Maxed out 401k and Roth IRA? Check. Aggressive savings and investments? Check. Yet, the freedom our success was supposed to buy can leave us stuck on the six-figure hamster wheel, watching retirement slip further down the road. There's another way. Get coaching courses and community at wealthyu.com.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. This is an opportunity for us to be able to speak to our issues. Y'all better understand something real quick. We ain't going nowhere. It is a continual battle that we see all across this country. Revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be streamed.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
He makes sure that our stories are told.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm talking with Sherry Sims. She is the founder of Black Career Women's Network, and we're specifically talking about what Black women need to do in able to overcome some of those obstacles. We talked in a recent episode about the McKinsey Lean-In study and the fact that so many Black women were having their careers impacted because of microaggressions and not getting support. And so, Sherry, that's exactly what I want to talk about now in terms of strategy, because it's one thing to know that there is bias and that in our case, and in my case, that, our direct leader who could really tell us, is really responsible for us being able to go to the next level in many regards is not supportive of us. So what are the strategies that we need to do specifically as it relates? You talked about relationship. I want to make sure I get this. It was relationship, role, and room.
Yeah, right.
And I want to talk about how to get into those rooms, because I think that's the biggest aspect. And you said something that I want to really push back on, and that is about performance. And oftentimes we are high performance and we're going above and beyond. And yet, because we're waiting on someone to tap us on the shoulder and say, "Great job, Sherry, you're ready for next." That's not how it happens. No. We have to be able to get into those rooms so that people can see our value and we can communicate how we create value. Yes. So what are some strategies for folks coming from putting their head down to getting in the right rooms?
So two things. There should be two strategies. One is your strategy on making sure that you have the mindset of what is it in this for you. Okay. I don't think we do that enough. We get into these roles. We want to be, we are naturally high performers, but we don't think about what truly is in it for us. Okay. So, I always look at these roles as a two-way street. I'm here to perform, but I'm also here to get what I need to so I can grow and develop. Part of that is being in the right rooms. So you have to pay attention to the people that you work with. You pay attention to the culture, and then you also pay attention to opportunities where you can gain access to those influencers, whether it is project-based, whether it is part of a committee that you can be involved in, whether it is even looking at how can you gain access to maybe shadowing someone or possibly learning how to new tasks to cover for someone while they're on vacation. There are definitely non-traditional ways that you can gain access to develop these skills. You should always keep in your mind, what is it that you need to gain out of this role that can take you to the next level? Even if your manager is not supportive of your career aspirations in the organization, you still can navigate through that through associations and mentorship, sponsorship. And if those are something that's not available right, at that direct place where you work, you still can look for other opportunities through activities, engagement, committees, projects that you can gain access to other people. So again, also find ways to engage with people who are a level of influence outside of the workplace. Find out when they're going to happy hour. Find out if there is an event that you have access to attend that with them, and find those creative ways to gain access to those people.
It's interesting that you're talking about what role we're in, making sure we're being strategic and going to the next level. But I do feel like when I coach women, one of the things that I found is that they have not really looked at what checkmate is. And what I mean by that, having a long-term vision of where you want to go so that then you can make the right moves as opposed to playing checkers and just going to the next move.
Yes.
And so to that, I mean, it's not like your career aspirations can't change, but I feel like sometimes it's difficult to be strategic if we don't actually know, if we're not actually aiming for something far above where we are at the time.
Well, what I mean by what's in it for you is the whole purpose of that aspect is you should have a plan, right? And your plan is, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And it should have a long-term goal, should be involved. But in order for you to get there, you still need to know where you currently are. How does where you currently are fit into that long-term goal? Which means, what are you getting out of this role that's going to set you up for that long-term success? And if you hit that brick wall while you're in that role, that means you may have plateaued what you need to gain from this role. Now it's time to start looking at what is that next role at that next level, where it's where you are internally, or is that me? I need to exit this organization and be able to achieve this elsewhere. So you
brought up a really, really good point. Because here's the other issue in terms of strategy. I feel like Black women specifically are very loyal. Mm-hmm. And there was a time when loyalty is rewarded, but that is not true in the current environment, with industries going in and out and the economy being as volatile as it is. So to that end, just one more strategy on what women need to do in order to build their brand so that they can find opportunities externally and also attract recruiters, because I know that's something that you have a lot of experience in.
So here's the thing. The trend now is 3 to 5 years. That's how long people are staying in a specific role. So what you should be doing, your long-term plan should involve, one, how long are you going to stay in the current role you're in? What are you trying to gain in terms of skill sets or access to influencers or people? How are you building your network or your net worth while you're in this role? And then make sure that you are checking off those boxes. And you're going to come up against obstacles while you're in the role. Listen, it's not going to be perfect. But again, focusing on this. So instead of focusing on how loyal you are being to the organization, you focus on, what am I still being a high performer, but know that you have an end goal and your own agenda in mind of what you need to accomplish while you're in this role. instead of thinking, I'm in this company, I'm going to give it on my all, and then you expect for them to give that back. Change your mindset and make sure that you are, again, practicing the 3 R's, but then also making sure that you are accomplishing what you need to accomplish for the long-term goals. And here's the thing, my whole saying is this: you should always be focusing on not just cultivating your job where you currently are, but making sure that you are accomplishing things that's going to make sure that you are expanding on your career for the long run.
That's good advice, because I often think that, sometimes you can't bloom where you're planted.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to go in more fertile soil where you're valued so you can grow. This is so good. The 3 R's. Let me make sure the audience remembers them too. Role, relationship,
and room.
All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk about execution. Sherry has given us a lot of great insight, but what do you need to do now to apply and accelerate your career growth?
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and we're talking about getting wealthy in your career today. And joining me is Sherry Sims. She's a diversity and inclusion leader and also founder of the Black Career Women's Network. Sherry, you've given me so many nuggets, and I know that our audience is enjoying this as well. I do think that one of the circumstances we've probably all found ourselves in our career, and that is a setback. And specifically what I've seen in coaching women is just around mid-career.
Yeah.
And you begin to think that, you're getting a pretty decent pay, and you're beginning to think that you're seeing younger people coming in, and it may even be that you're reporting into someone younger than yourself. And so I want you to give our audience just some strategies that they can execute on. If you're at mid-career level, what do you need to do to remain relevant?
Oh, such a good question. Really, to remain relevant, one thing you need to do is just know that you have people who are maybe a little bit older than you that are still killing it in the workplace. And so come out of the mindset that you're mid-career or feeling like that you are at a stage now where maybe you should be winding down, or that, what society says you should be doing at a certain stage in your career. We are living in the age now where people are reinventing themselves in so many ways, and they're using social media platforms and just visibility of media overall to reinvent themselves. So, maybe it's time for you to discover what other gifts and talents you have to maybe start a whole brand new career. If you feel like you have plateaued where you are, you've been in the industry for now 20 something years, how can you take those skill sets and use them in a different way? I know that I definitely have been able to do that. And the reason why I say, think about reinventing what the skill sets you have and using them to re-energize a whole new career at a whole new stage in your life. And know that what you bring to the table as a mid-career professional is still valued by organizations there. And there's a lot of them out there that you can take that expertise and go to, and that it will be appreciated. So come out of the mindset that you're on this, this is your second act. Look at what is going to be your third act. As long as you're still breathing, you have skills and talents and gifts that someone can use. And just find a resurgence of a new way to reapproach how you look at yourself and the evolution of where you want to go next.
Yes, I call that the perennial mindset, just like a flower that comes back every year and blooms stronger and stronger. To that end, though, a recent study that I looked at and interviewed the head of multicultural clients for marketing for United Bank of Switzerland, and the stats came out. And what was really, really interesting is how African Americans get to the high net worth, which is investable assets of $1 million or more, Asians and Hispanics. And one of the things that came out of that study really was that for Black women specifically, the ability to become high net worth is directly tied to our earnings. And then additionally, we have a business of some kind. Mm-hmm. And because so much of our ability to build wealth is based on our ability to earn, the other side of that I see, Sherry, is a lot of Black women not earning what they're worth, being kind of pigeonholed into industries or careers that are administrative and that aren't as valued, and so aren't paid as well. Mm-hmm. And so my question to you would be, especially because you're something in HR, what advice would you give women around retooling and positioning themselves for industries that pay well and are on a growth trajectory?
Yeah, I would say one of the things you can do is to probably evaluate what your transferable skills are. I feel like that we are multi-talented individuals, so we have more than one talent or skill that we can utilize. So reevaluate what your skill sets are, or what you have a desire to do but never have felt like you had an opportunity to do it, and see where those skills fall into what positions. Department of Labor has a website. You can go and find out about any position and typically what the salary are for those roles. And then you can take a deeper dive into using some other salary tools to find out what the median from 25 percentile to 75 percentile of what those salaries pay based on your market, whether it's including education, what city you live in, and also the median for that, because a lot of times the companies will pay on that 50 percentile median. But look at what those things require. There are positions now, or should I say, well, Deborah, there's a trend, right? I wouldn't call it a trend. Employers are moving more to now going back to experience versus education. Now, don't get me wrong, do not re-quote me on this, but there are roles where you absolutely have to have the education, but they are now making sure that they realize the value of talent that may not necessarily be through a college education, because we all have natural innate gifts. So again, utilize your experience and say, I have 10 years of experience versus that's equivalent to a 4-year college degree, and making sure that you negotiate that and make sure you're, should I say, selling that when you're in that negotiation process for a role.
The other question I have for you as well is, many people, one of the points that you made was about the room. Mm-hmm. And making sure that we're in the right rooms of influence. And I would like to have you maybe share the work that you do at Black Career Women's Network. What are some of the tactics and strategies that you have inside of the organization that can, because the whole, premise of network is to network not only internally, but externally. I'd love for you to just shed some light on the kinds of activities that you have going on in your organization that can help women become more adept, more agile, and ultimately experience more career success?
Yeah. So what we do is we have in our community, we do community webinars, which we offer to everyone, and then gives that we do a topic every month, and we do an open discussion, so we can make sure that we're providing those tips and tools that can elevate them, that can take back and apply immediately into the workplace. We also have our mentoring program where we can assign you, or you can actually sign up to have mentoring one-on-one with a Black female professional, whether you're an entrepreneur or if you are someone who is in corporate America. And then we have our group coaching. Inside of our community, which we do a lot of this through the live streams in our mobile app, we also do something called Career Tip Tuesdays. And we do those live streams through our community, but we also engage with our people who interact with us through LinkedIn Live, and we also answer a lot of questions, and they gain access that way. We're very hands-on with the women, so we are all constantly always asking questions via email, doing one-on-one conversations with them. We do a lot of situational coaching, where we are working with women if they have a specific situation at work they're trying to work through, to help them to elevate to the next level, or if they're preparing themselves for promotion. And then, always working with women every year at the end of the year to prepare them for those those annual reviews, and how to support themselves with preparing for any type of salary evaluations that they want to discuss with their managers to prepare them for a raise or a substantial increase as well.
Well, great information. Black Career Women's Network will make sure that you have the address to her organization. When we come back, though, we're not through. We're going into our Analyze, Optimize, Maximize segment, so that now you can take a look at everything that we covered and actually know what your next steps are. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Terry and I, we couldn't play in the white clubs in Minnesota. It felt like such a, strength through adversity type moment that I think Black people just have to go through. We have to figure it out.
Right.
We make lemons out of lemonade. But there's a reason we rented a ballroom, did our own show, promoted it, got like 1,500 people to come out. Clubs were sitting empty. They were like, "Where's everybody at?" And I said, "They're down watching the band you wouldn't hire." So it taught us not only that we had the talent of musicians, but we also had to have the talent of entrepreneurship. It wasn't like a seat at the table. It's like, no, let's build the table.
That's right.
We got to build the table. And,
That's right.
And that was the thing. And of course, after that, we got all kinds of offers.
Of course.
Right, to come play in the clubs. But we didn't do it.
You're like, "No, we good."
No, we're good. We're good. And that's what put us on a path of national. And of course, when Prince made it, then it was like, okay, we see it can be done.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and we're getting wealthy. And today's topic is getting wealthy through your career, making sure that you're able to flourish. My conversation today is with Sherry Sims. She is a diversity and exclusion professional, as well as the founder of Black Career Women's Network, who has a huge presence on LinkedIn with over 50,000 women in her group, as well as her Black Career Women's Network organization. Sherry, welcome back to Get Wealthy. We've covered a lot of ground today. And so I want you to look at this as our lightning round. Analyze, optimize, maximize. So if we were to look at everything that we covered today, what do folks need to now do? And so let's start with analyze. You talked about, and I love this because I can remember this. You talked about role, relationship, and room.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to analyze analyze that, what is the impact that understanding those acronyms can have for our audience?
Oh, goodness. I think it goes back to, if you think about role, relationship, and room, you should definitely think about strategy, right? Think about what should be your strategy to impact all three of those, and know that you have what it takes to create the career that you want to see. You have what it takes. And by having that confidence, and then making sure that you are creating a tribe, or as some of my colleagues would say in the industry, make sure you are creating a board of directors that you can not only support you, but you can support them as well. And you're helping each other in terms of rallying around each other with best practices and just tips that you can use with each other to make sure you've got that continuous support. So I think that is important to have. You have to have.
It's so important. And I think that for so many women, we feel like we've got to roll up our sleeves on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes me to the next part. And that's really optimizing.
Yes.
If someone's listening to this program and they know that they are not fully realizing their potential, what advice would you give them about optimizing their experience and their knowledge to begin to optimize it, so at the end of the day, they can earn more and secure the bag?
Yes. Well, two things. One, get out of your own way, because sometimes we stop ourselves, right? Get out of your own way. Find clarity on what it is you really want. Write it down. Create. And again, like Deborah says, everything goes back to strategy. You have to have a plan. And once you get out of your own way and you provide yourself with clarity, you create the plan, and then you need to start taking steps towards executing the plan. And if you need to find an accountability partner, someone who can reel you back in and say, hey, get it together, or you're off track, finding someone who can help you with that. And here's the thing. I always say you can build a relationship with someone who is an influencer within the organization and genuinely just get to know them. And you don't have to formally make it a mentor-mentee type of relationship. You could just say, hey, I really admire your leadership skills. I really admire how you've been able to navigate the trajectory of the organization. Can I run some things by you that I really would like to work on for myself and get some of your advice? Again, there are so many different ways to be able to gain what you need. You just have to be not afraid to take that step and ask. And I always say, if you ask, you won't know till you ask, should I say. And you should always find someone that you know that has great character before you approach them and ask them those types of questions.
Well, you brought up something that I think a lesson that learned that had an indelible impact on my own career, and that is not always going and asking, but really offering, right? Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes when you have executives who are very busy and they don't have a lot of time, but what they do have typically is some kind of philanthropic project or something that they're working on. And that could be a great way for you to volunteer your time mm-hmm. and talent, and also get to know them. And then finally, maximize. Mm-hmm. There is only so much time that you have in a day. If you were to maximize on everything that we discussed today, what is that one takeaway advice that you think could have the greatest impact?
Oh, good. That's a good, very, very good question. And my top strength is maximizer. From the Clifton Strength Finders, my top strength is maximizer. So if anybody can push you to that next level and even probably have you get mad at me, would be me. So I would say is that you have to come out of your comfort zone. If you're going to maximize the gifts and the skills and the talent that you have, or if you have a vision for where you want to go, you have to come out of your comfort zone. You need to learn. And like you said, build those relationships. Pay attention to not only the people that you work with, pay attention to if the culture shifts, pay attention to when there's opportunities that open up. Do not doubt yourself. If you hear about an opportunity to be part of a project and gain visibility, you need to find out who is in the room that you can ask, or who in the room can you just go in and interject yourself into the project, or come in and say, hey, I have this skill set that I think would be valuable for this project. I want to be involved. Sometimes it's not about just asking, it's about letting them know what you bring to the table and then how you can make an impact, and just let them know directly. So again, getting out of your own way, being confident, have clarity, create the strategy, execute it, and then make sure that you are clear on who you can get involved to help you maximize what you're trying to accomplish.
Now that's what I call maximizing. I can see why that is your strength. Mm-hmm. Sherry Sims, thank you so much for coming on Get Wealthy. And again, just tell our audience how they can get in contact and learn more about the Black Career Women's Network.
Absolutely. You can go to bcwnetwork.com to check out our website. We also have a mobile app that you can download from Google Play or Apple Store, and that is just type in Black Career Women's Network, and you'll find the app, and you can join our community. And we have tons of resources to help you to elevate. And also, we even have some webinars on the 3 R's of how to maximize your abilities in the room, role relationship in the room.
Love it. That's memorable, as I call it. Sherry, thanks so much for coming on Get Wealthy. When we come back, it's the 3 takeaways from today's show. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
I need you to scream for your new beginning. 5, 4, 3, 2. I need you to shout for it. I need you to shout for it. It won't always be like this. Sooner or later, it's gonna work in your brother's favor, in your sister's favor. They shall not die. They shall not die. They shall not die. I want you to embrace somebody and tell them welcome to the greatest season of your life. Hug somebody, welcome.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. It's all about getting wealthy through your career. And here are the 3 takeaways from today's show. First, gain clarity and have a purpose. You really need to have a long-term view so that you're making the right moves along the way. Secondly, increase your competency, because increasing your skill set and your abilities are going to learn more, earn more. That's how I like to put it. And then finally, take ownership of your career success. Don't wait for somebody to tap you on the shoulder. As Sherry said, have confidence and assume that you already have the ability. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Get Wealthy. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach. You're watching Get Wealthy only on Black Star Network.